You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, we're going to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. We got two big updates here. We got one involving Russell Wilson's future, ? I find this very odd, and I'm going to tell you why I don't really buy it, because monetarily it doesn't make sense. Now, the money part could swing it both ways, and I get that. But the idea that Russell Wilson could already have a job in jeopardy, as we know the Steelers traded for Justin Fields, and Justin Fields was told, you're the backup. Russell Wilson was told, you're the starter. And we know right now Mike Tomlin is on notice. Art Rooney II is ready for something that does not look like 10-7 into the playoffs and out of the playoffs. He's done with it. He wants wins, actual wins in the playoffs. And we've got something very interesting as well in follow-up to a story I did yesterday on the idea that my Niners, I hate this. I hate this because this is one of my favorite players on the team, and I feel like Brock Purdy, a young quarterback, needs him. But the idea that Brandon Aiyuk maybe end up being a Pittsburgh Steeler, they traded away Deontay Johnson to the Panthers. For the Panthers, that made all the sense in the world. And now there's some real fire around a trade involving the Steelers and Brandon Aiyuk. Aiyuk is right now, as of right now, I went over this yesterday, he's rated as he was the number 2 graded out PFF wide receiver in all of football last year. There's been a little fire out there every year about Debo for the last couple of years, and I would guess if I'm given true serum, if I'm asked which one do I want to have let go, it's probably Debo. He's 2 years older, and I would rather pay a guy that's a couple of years younger, and in football years, 2 years is, well, the difference between being good and bad, and we know that. So the Steelers made a major, albeit cheap, moves to overhaul the quarterback room during free agency. Out are Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, in are Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. And you guys know I'm not a huge Russell Wilson or Justin Fields fan, but I got to admit, the Steelers did a remarkable job remaking that room, and I do think that room is better. It's certainly more talented, without a doubt. That the ceiling feels a lot higher. Let's put it that way. While Pittsburgh has said publicly that Wilson is going to be the starter in the training camp, ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter shared on Tuesday that who ends up starting come week 1 isn't really set in stone. That's interesting. He also added that if Field rises to the starting role, Pittsburgh could simply cut bait and move on from Russell Wilson. What? Quote, I even had an executive say if Justin Fields outplays Russell Wilson during training camp, they could see Russell Wilson, them moving on from him before the season. Schefter said on Tuesday on NFL Live, like there's a whole range of possibilities. We know that Russell Wilson goes in as a starter, but again, they're going to let the competition play out, and we'll see where it goes. The Steelers could be comfortable parting ways with Wilson even before the season, in part because of the low price they're paying him. Currently, Pittsburgh is on the books to pay Wilson $1.2 million, a paltry sum, as far as quarterback contracts are concerned. They have said that Russell is going to be the starter going into training camp. Justin Fields is going to be the backup going into training camp. They've been pretty clear, but it jumped. But they think the investment that they have in each player, they essentially are giving Russell Wilson $1.2 million, while the Broncos are paying him almost $38 million this year. A very little investment. They gave up conditional 2025 six-round pick for Justin Fields, a very little investment. Okay, so This is why I actually think this feels kind of bullshitty to me. Unless it would be a Russell Wilson, I'm not happy with not starting scenario, which is very possible. All right? But let's say Justin Fields beats him out in training camp. All right. You're not going to find a backup quarterback nearly to the skill level as Russell Wilson at $1.2 million a season. I mean, Mason Rudolph, I think, got like $3 million, something like that. Jameis Winston got $4 million, fully guaranteed. I'm just saying, that is a very financially good situation, even if Russell's your backup quarterback. Yeah, it allows you to cut him, but why? Why? Why not keep him as a backup if Justin Fields shits the bed or gets hurt? He's a dual-threat quarterback. You got a veteran that comes in off the bench and, in theory, could save the day. This is also interesting because it was just the other day that it got out that the Steelers have already made it known they want to give Russell a long-term contract. Now, I said, I don't know how any of this works I understand why Justin Fields wanted to go there. I think Mike Tomlin, Arthur Smith is a good fit. But if Russell Wilson's the starter, how do you know how good Justin Fields is going to be in order to determine, are you picking up the fifth-year option? Now, again, they've got ways around that in the fact that just because there's a fifth-year option doesn't mean that they necessarily have to sign him for that. They can go to Justin and say, hey, we're willing to give you a 2-year, $18 million deal. Take it or leave it. $10 million guaranteed. And if Russell's like, or if Justin Fields is like, I don't know what my options are going to be, and I like Pittsburgh, he might decide to take that. Otherwise, we're getting rid of you. We're not paying you $25 million. All right? Now, I saw something ridiculous yesterday about the idea that that Justin Fields' value is going to be a contract in the neighborhood of $280 million. I don't know who came up with that, but that seems absurd. So, Brandon Aiyuk and the Steelers, there's a lot of fire there right now. And Brandon Aiyuk is not keeping this a secret. This is from yesterday. 49ers wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk chose an interesting way to end his posting blackout on X. I guess he had boycotted social media, or at least X, for whatever reason. Brandon Aiyuk tagged Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin in a message on social media amid questions about his long-term future in the Bay Area. At Coach Tomlin, they saying we twins. What do you think? Eyeballs. That's interesting. I mean, you tagged the coach of another team? The team that there's all this fire about you getting traded to. Andrew Filipponi, 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh, reported Tuesday that the Steelers have, quote, looked into a potential trade for the 26-year-old. The general uncertainty stems from the fact that Aiyuk is only under contract with the Niners for one more year. Aiyuk's situation looms the largest over this 49ers offseason. If they can't find a way to a contract extension, the talented wideout could theoretically ask to be traded to a team that's willing and able to pay him, ESPN's Dan Graziano reported in February. Interesting. Spot Track values the 2022 first-round pick at $24 million annually, a number that may not reflect what he can earn in light of this ridiculous Jerry Jeudy contract. 3 years, $58 million, $41 million guaranteed. What are you doing, Browns? Exactly. No, I mean, yeah. I mean, there is people clowning that contract all over social media. Again, a pretty good number 2 wide receiver. Got nearly $60 million and over $40 guaranteed. Mike Williams got $15 million, by the way, from the Jets. I'm like, Guys, do we want to take a step back and reevaluate how much we're paying wide receivers? Because what? And not only that, but do you do that knowing that there's talk of 10, 12, 15 potential WR1s in the draft? I mean, that draft is that deep. It's deep at quarterback, and it's deep on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, like a team like the Panthers or the Patriots or both, if they hit on their picks, they could totally rework their offenses in one draft. I mean, there's a world where that exists. Odds say that's not going to happen, but there's a world where it exists, and maybe that's what the Niners are thinking. We're going to draft one of these hotshot, big-time wide receivers. But I caution the Niners, and yes, I'm a Niners fan. You got a young quarterback that looks really good that you lucked into at no money. A 7th-round pick. Did anybody note what Dak Prescott looked like when Amari Cooper was traded to the Browns before they got CeeDee Lamb? The difference in his statistics was astonishing. He became a very, very pedestrian quarterback when Amari Cooper got traded and before CeeDee Lamb got drafted. It was jaw-dropping. He went from being a good quarterback to a, in my opinion, slightly below mid quarterback. Dak Prescott, that quick. And then CD came in, and his numbers blew back up. We talk about that. Weapons. There you go. What's Brock Purdy going to look like if you trade away Brandon Aiyuk and or trade away Deebo Samuel? I mean, there's a world where the Niners could actually pull the trigger and trade both. I don't get it. You're this close. That feels like the step way backwards and back away from the Super Bowl. I don't love it. As a Niners fan, I hate it, actually. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.